On the 26th of May 2021, Big Finish announced that they will be relaunching in 2022, where each Doctor from Doctors 1 to 8 would be given their own series of adventures. Now, this would have been exclusively for the 3rd, 4th, and of course the ninth and 10th Doctors. Now, each of the Doctors will be getting their own little box set. So, today we're doing a tier list from 2022 to 2025 before we get the Imposters coming out to see how the relaunch has fared over the past couple of years.
Yeah, so this tier list will just be those classic Doctor Adventures as they're dubbed, I suppose. It's what's included in your yearly bundle from first to eighth Doctor. So we're not going to be throwing in any special releases like The Curse of Time for the fourth Doctor or, the Time War Uncharted stuff for the eighth Doctor. It's purely what you get with those bundles. What's sort of like the current backbone of Big Finish in a way? Very much a
Yeah,
replacement for the original monthly slash main range that they had.
yes. So I think we've got 58 box sets to get through.
Yeah, we do. It's quite a few. I mean, it's nothing compared to 275 monthly range stories, which we did tier lists
So check out that video.
too long ago. So yeah, there you go. Little plug there, but it's still a hefty task, this. And it's
Yeah.
also a lot thinking about, having 58 CD cases sat up on your shelf that we've accumulated over the past just 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's only the main, like we say, the backbone, the classic Doctor Adventures bundle releases. That's not including
Your
any
War
other
Doctor
bits we
Begins and
may
your
have picked up. Yeah,
yeah,
I
your
mean,
spin-off stuff.
yeah, for you in particular, because you
Yeah.
go a lot more physical than I do. I have gone all physical with these bundles so
I mean, they
far.
look so good on the shelf, don't they?
Yeah. Yeah, there is something nice about having that. The way it all lines up, the way the Doctor Who logo is the same size on each one, the way most of them are all, the same thickness. There's something quite satisfying about seeing them all together on the shelf.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we're seeing them all together on a tier list here today instead, aren't we?
Yeah. So do
So,
you want to go through these tier lists because you've designed this?
yeah. So we have seven different tiers here, ranging from the very best, which is the Dream tier, on the Dream Team there. Intelligence and Storytelling is our next tier down, a play on words with Intelligence for War, a Third Doctor adventure, which we will be tier listing today. The Decent Song plays on the Demon Song. In the
Yeah.
Bleak mid tier is it's the mid tier, like we say.
Yeah.
That's bang in the middle of the tier list. It's for the stuff that really isn't the best, but by no means the worst either. Uh, that is riffing on In the Bleak Midwinter, an Eighth Doctor Christmassy box set, which again we will be talking about very soon, or probably a little while now,
Yeah.
towards the end of the video. So stick around for that one. Then we've got Far From the Best, which is riffing off Far From Home, a Seventh Doctor Harry and Naomi box set. Empty Vessels, which is literally the title of a box set. I maybe got a bit lazy with that one, but it's a fitting one for those box sets that just feel kind of empty. We're not at the very bottom yet, but you just listen and you're sort of left feeling meh after it. And then finally, at the very bottom, it's the trials of a Big Finish listener. These are the ones that you really struggle to get through. So we'll see how the relaunch has fared over the past 4 years, where they come into play across these these tiers. Sorry, these box sets come into play across these tiers.
Yeah,
Uh,
because the
but
good thing with this relaunch is the format that it hasn't been tied to 2 hour stories. We can get 7 part stories, 6 parters. So
mm,
there's a wide variety of
yeah,
forms of story here.
yeah, some box sets are free two-parters. We've got some three-parters within there as well. It's all over the place, and I think that has been one of the strengths of the relaunch.
Yeah,
I mean, how
absolutely.
are you feeling about the relaunch now that we are 4 years down?
I
Which
mean,
feels wild to say because it feels like only yesterday this change was announced to the way Big Finish were approaching Classic Doctors.
I think like anything, it's got pros and cons. I do kind of miss the monthly range at times,
Hmm.
but I think the what it's done is opening up the world of storytelling. Like getting 7 part third Doctor stories is brilliant, but I would like to get four-part third Doctor stories. 'Cause we've not had one since this relaunch. So
No, that's true. And
so
they
I,
were all we had before that.
yeah, so I think it's sort of a double-edged sword where you get these sort of more long-form storytelling, like Hooklight. I don't think we could have got that a couple of years ago at all.
No.
So
I
I
mean,
think, yeah.
technically you could have done across a monthly range trilogy,
Mhm.
but it's not really something they ever went for with the monthly range,
No, not
whereas
really.
here it does feel like they are pushing the format a little bit more, really testing what they can do.
Speaking of testing, should we begin the tier list?
I think we might as well make sure that it works after all.
Well, that's what we're here for, and yeah,
Yeah. I mean, one of the great things that came along with this relaunch was a certain recast of a certain Doctor. Because before this, we did have David Bradley in the role, but it was very much his own interpretation of the first Doctor we are talking about now. He was there in the new series, played the part originally in Adventure in Space and Time. But for this relaunch, Big Finish wanted to cast their own actor who was more in line with William Hartnell's portrayal of the role. In fact, Nick Briggs once described it rather perfectly when talking about this actor, saying that it's the same music played on a slightly different instrument. I'm, of course, talking about Stephen Noonan, who we have wonderfully got to meet ourselves through him doing this, through him engaging with the community, and yet he reached out to us not long after The Outlaws came out. And then just over a year later, we were chatting about season 12 live for you all to watch. And
yeah.
I've kept in contact ever since, still doing more streams and videos with him. Yeah, it's been a wonderful friendship that has formed here that
So there
wouldn't
might
have
be a little bit
happened
of a
had Big Finish
bias.
not cast him as the first Doctor.
Yeah, 'cause it's a beautiful thing, and I think because we've been so complimentary of the first Doctor stuff, really, it's spawned such a beautiful friendship that we both value very highly, you know.
Yeah. Right, now let's stick it all in the bottom tier. Move on to the second Doctor.
Yeah, so we can't say much. So it is a trial of a big finish list. No jokes.
Yeah.
Uh, I think the Outlaws is a perfect box set for the first Doctor. I think I really like the format of it, having this historical, well, sort of pseudo historical with Rufus Hound's Monk, and then you get this sort of slightly 60s take on 2019 with the miniaturist. I think that yeah, it's quite possibly could be my favorite box set of his. The
Oh,
more I think about, I just really love it.
I think it was definitely a strong starting point of an idea, this one. It's looking back to the Time Meddler for influence in The Outlaws itself, where that story was very much the first time Doctor Who had to reinvent itself somewhat,
Hmm.
because with the rescue after Susan, you get very much a surrogate Susan in Vicky, don't you?
Yes.
But then when Ian and Barbara move on at the end of the chase, you don't just get straight up Ian and Barbara replacements. The show's moved on from them now, and you get a new kind of character in Stephen, a new dynamic with that trio. And so the Time Meddler is almost like the first relaunch of the series itself. And then Big Finish is relaunching the first Doctor here in multiple ways, not just in that, got a new actor in the role, but also in where it's taking place just after Stephen leaves, funnily enough. Um, you know, it's now just the Doctor and Dodo. That's not a combination we ever saw on TV, because immediately after that, Dodo was written out and Ben and Polly came along. So just that combination of a first Doctor and a single female companion is something new to tackle. And so it makes sense to reach back to that previous relaunch and shape this one after that in the form of the Outlaws, with Rufus Houndmonk turning up there for that story. And then the miniaturist, I think,
So
far
good,
stronger
isn't it?
story. I do, like I say, Outlaws, good idea for how to relaunch. And I do like that approach of, historical four-parter, contemporary but 60s uh, two-parter to wrap it up, much more experimental. But yeah, The Outlaws itself as a story, I think, goes on a bit too long. It feels like it loses direction halfway through. Whereas The Miniaturist, really good stuff, really creepy and out there, very 60s, very modern at the same time. And I think
Yeah.
that's the perfect reinvention of the First Doctor adventures, really.
I think you see that vision really come into play with Demon Song, which we'll get to in a second, I guess.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, where would you put Outlaws?
I
You're
mean,
not constrained by me.
personally, I would go for intelligence for storytelling. I think because the Outlaws
Ah,
just feels very early adventures to me, and I love the early adventures, so it has that sort of feel to it, and it was just good to get a full cast First Doctor adventure, really. So I feel like, yeah, that's where I'd put it personally.
for me, I saw it had me missing the early adventures at times
Okay,
early on. Yeah. So I don't know if I'd go in the bleak mid tier for this one. Mate,
should we go
even as
decent
much as I
song?
like The Miniaturist, I do think The Outlaws, as the four-parter,
Hmm.
it weighs down the set much
Okay,
more for me. Uh, so yes, but should we even it out with the decent song?
I think so. Talking a decent song, Demon Song.
Here we go. Again, I think this is another case of a strong two-parter and a less strong four-parter.
Yeah, I think that the Demon Song itself is the vision of where the first Doctor Adventures really shine. We have Dodo and the Doctor in a post-pandemic world dealing with, streamers and stuff like that with this creepy going on with the actual demon. So it's just so
Felt
right.
perfect for the 60th anniversary year. This came
Yeah.
out February 23. And so Camden as well, the fact that the
Yeah,
14th Doctor would
true.
later turn up there, it felt oddly fitting. And it was a nice vision of our modern world, but
Yeah.
very much through the lens of these 60s characters, the way they're interacting with things like,
The tube.
smartphones and tapping in and out on the tube. It's very much treated as if it's any old alien world or any old future would have been treated in the 60s.
Hmm.
Which I think I love those earlier moments of the Demon Song. There's something special about them.
And it's a brilliant story for Dodo and Lauren Cornelius. I think she really shined within it, really.
Hmm. Yeah, me, I'd put it about the same level as the Outlaws.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I can
Yeah,
agree.
yeah. I do think things get better in Fugitive of the Daleks, though. For me, this is probably my favorite of the range.
It's yeah, probably the most traditional.
Yeah, that's true. It's very much riffing off The Chase, this one, isn't it?
Yeah,
And is even a sequel in many ways to that story,
and it's
where
oh, go on.
we bump into an older Vicky.
Yeah, because this starts the trend of the first Doctor doing his sort of glory lap, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
Visiting
his
his old
farewell
friends.
tour.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, this is a yeah. This really does go for the Chase vibes with sort of the Nick with the Dalek voices. It's playing some nice comedy within it, which feels a little bit questionable when you listen to it, but it's very of the time of what it's going for.
Yeah, it's warts and all with The Chase, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it goes from quite a few different genres,
Mhm.
really. When it's good, it's really good, but it does have its shaky moments, particularly towards the middle chunk, which I would also say is where The Chase has its shakier moments.
Mm. But it's got some beautiful character moments between the Doctor and Vicky.
Mm,
It's definitely one for fans. It's Jonathan Morris doing a bit of some cannon plasters there, explaining certain things. So if
yeah.
you're into that type of story and you want to know some sort of threads that have
Obscure
sort of
lore that
yeah,
if something always bothered you in the first Doctor's run, then maybe this will unbother it for you. But if it
yeah,
didn't bother you in the first place, you might be bothered by this.
yeah, who knows? So Fugitive for Daleks, where are we gonna go?
I may be leaning intelligence for storytelling.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's a fun one,
Yeah.
and it's
I
got
think it'd
some
be a bit
fun
rude to
twists.
say oh, this is my favorite, and then stick it with the
The same
others.
level. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can agree. I can agree.
Yeah. And now we come to The Living Darkness, which is Stephen's turn to have his six-part story with the First Doctor. This one very much leans into what has been done with Stephen previously since he left the Doctor in the Companion Chronicles,
Hmm.
but nevertheless makes it accessible
Yeah.
to new listeners. But there's only so nice I can be about this one. It
It
is a slog.
it's got some nice character moments. I
Mm,
think you've got to sift through a lot to get to find the gold within it, really.
yeah.
Um, hmm.
Like, far from the best.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we've got to put some things lower down on this tier list. Might as well start early.
Yeah, I mean, I think Stephen Noonan and Peter Purvis have such a great rapport, and I think that's
Yeah.
a delight.
It just made me more Stephen
Yeah,
listening to this one, to be honest.
that's
Like,
fair.
yeah, I think that's the most positive takeaway I had from it was it reminded me how much I like Stephen as a character.
Hmm.
And there's another set that does that for another character soon. But first, we are going a bit out of order here. We're doing a third Doctor adventure before we segue back into the second Doctor adventures. But it's the third Doctor adventure where Big Finish's new second Doctor, Michael Troughton, made his debut. It's the Annihilators.
Yeah, this has got such a weird relationship with us
Hmm.
because when it was announced, it wasn't announced as a second Doctor story. We were so hyped that
A
we're getting
fake
a
cover and everything.
fake cover. We were getting a third Doctor seven-part story for, yeah, we're cooking now. This is really exciting because the third Doctor adventures were on a real high
Hmm.
at that point. And then when Michael Troughton was announced, we were like, "Oh, you've killed
Just
it!"
trying to muscle in on our third Doctor territory here.
Yeah, like we were, yeah, we wanted our seven-part story, and I think that this sort of set the benchmark for the relaunch for me, and especially the third Doctor Adventures.
Hmm.
This quite possibly is my favorite of the relaunch stuff.
It's definitely up there, isn't it? I mean, one of the videos on this channel is titled "The Best Big Finish Ever," isn't it, or something like that?
Yeah,
That is a review of this story, so that shows
it's
you how much we do enjoy this one. I think it had that perfect season seven atmosphere, really.
you can hear the film grain. I think that's
Yeah,
become our famous quote for this story.
yeah, very much so. I think it's
Uh,
something that applies particularly to the season seven stories to us. There's a
mhm.
particular tone there that Nick Briggs has really captured with this one and woven the second Doctor in very well to that tone. I think it's easy to forget about the invasion, the proto season seven story in many ways.
Yeah.
And so actually having him and Jamie there does lend itself rather neatly to season seven territory. And there's
Well,
even like little callbacks to that with elevator shafts and such that help you put you in mind of that. It leans quite a bit into Quatermass as well, looking at those original influences of season seven. Yeah, just the Dockland setting as well. It's all brilliant, so evocative. It really does conjure up such brilliant images in your mind while listening. And yeah, it's dream tier. I mean,
yeah.
was
I
there
mean,
ever any doubt?
I
It,
mean, it's one of those stories where you listen to it and you think this is something really special. And we talk about Big Finish recreating an era. They go so hard on this, and I think that's what makes it so just work so well. And I think Nick Briggs has looked at the mechanics of a seven-part story. How do you sustain 7 episodes of Doctor Who? And he's found the perfect formula for it here.
yeah, because it is still very much a third Doctor story, isn't it? Like
Yes.
second Doctor doesn't come crashing in until around part three or part four proper. And so, in that, it's not your typical multi Doctor story where they share the limelight. This is very much a third Doctor story that the second Doctor guest stars in, but
Which
does
is,
still have a
yeah.
very good part in.
Yeah, very good. Very good indeed.
Mm.
So, second Doctor now, we get Tim muscling in Beyond
Yeah,
Wargames
they
here.
return the favor, don't they, here?
Yeah.
as he gets to play both the Third Doctor in not an actual part of the story as such.
Just recreating little moments, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like the Second Doctor tuning in on what he would be doing if he had just carried on with his exile. Because with the Annihilators and Beyond War Games here, our next set, we are going beyond War Games. It's Big Finish doing season 6B. And yeah, I mean, we're now gonna see a list of 4 sets they've done in it so far.
Mm.
And this both features a weird and out there story in the final beginning, and in a very traditional, um, in very much the same way that the Annihilators evoked season 7. This story, Wrath of the Ice Warriors, very much evokes season 5 and 6 in its approach.
Yeah, you've got Katie Manning being, one of the ice warriors within it, and she is just hamming it up, and it's
It's
delicious.
brilliant.
It's so wonderful, and it's a bit of genius work, really.
Yeah. Uh,
Uh, I think this is the
yeah,
best Second Doctor box that they've done.
very possibly. Yeah, I think
Uh,
having that chunky 4-parter there as well in Wrath of the Ice Warriors,
mhm.
really does help this one. I think, yeah, intelligence for storytelling or decent song. I wouldn't complain about either.
I would go intelligent for storytelling.
Yeah, I think that's a good spot for that one. Yeah. And then we come to James Robert McCrimmon. Now, this is where it sort of pushes more into its own direction,
Hmm.
Second Doctor Adventures. They're riffing less off the TV run. Um, but it still feels like they're oddly tied down by the TV run.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like this attempt to do something new, but it can't fully commit to it for whatever reason. And so you've ended up with this weird amalgamation where instead of it being a nice blend, it's more like it's at war with itself, really.
Yeah, it's a
Uh,
strange box set, isn't it?
yeah. Jamie, the first story in this set, not the character. I mean, it's wonderful having Jamie back. But yeah, that first story I struggled with. The second story, I think, is one of the best of the range, The Green Man.
Hmm.
And then The Shroud, all right ending, to be fair.
I think the Shroud's where you start to see the vision of this range going, where you get what you sort of it's what you see in Conspiracy of Raven and Potential Daleks, really, I think. It's
Hmm.
that type of weird, quirky story, I
Yeah.
would say.
I mean, decent song again.
Yeah,
It's nah, or maybe in bleak mid
I
tier.
I say kind of mid because I like the Shroud, but yeah, Jamie's okay and Green Man's really good. I think that's what's sort of bolstering it up.
Yeah, I think for me, it's one of those sets that I look at the individual stories, other than Jamie, and I think actually that's all right, but something about overall it's less than the sum of its parts.
Hmm.
Yeah. But then Conspiracy of Raven, this is 3 2-parters, but it's also kind of 1 6-parter, really.
Hmm.
It does all flow together nicely. And I was hinting at it earlier, this story very much made me appreciate Zoe again. And actually, upon re-listening to this set, I went, you know what, I want to stick on the Crotons. So there's a little
Well,
callback to
that's
the
wild. Yeah.
Crotons within there, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna enjoy myself and stick on the Crotons. Yeah, I mean, I think this one is a all right set. It's certainly a lot of it is set up though.
It's part one of a story,
Hmm.
isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Decent song.
Yeah,
Yeah. Or are you leaning in bleak mid tier?
I would say Bleak mid tier personally,
I won't stop you.
just because I'm kind of struggling to remember it. But you've just marathoned it, so I kind of trust
Yeah.
you.
No, I think in bleak mid tier is a fair placement for that one.
Yeah.
And then the potential Daleks. Yeah, it didn't reach its potential.
No, it's a bit of a messy one, isn't it?
Hmm. I think going straight from Conspiracy of Raven to this one as well, there's definitely a difference in how clean Conspiracy of Raven all builds up to how all over the place the potential Daleks feels.
It's not one big story, is it? It's three separate chunks.
Yeah. And so with that, the rhythm of the storytelling gets thrown off. because you've had all this build up across Conspiracy of Raven, and then suddenly you're right back where you started again. Then you build across the first story in the set, then you're back where you started again, and so on. And it's a bit tiring, really. And I did struggle to reach the end of this box set.
Yeah, especially that last story where it just sort of fizzles out. It doesn't have this grand
It
crescendo.
feels like they lose interest in their own idea, and are
Yeah.
just looking instead to what comes next, which is unfortunate when the previous set was setting up what comes next in this set. It's
Yeah.
got its moments. I think particularly Secret of the Daleks is the middle story in this is the strongest, but
That's the most traditional and safe story, which is what you want because it's resetting with the characters after the characters sort of being separated for a little bit.
yeah, yeah,
Far from best.
yeah, I think so. I think it's definitely the weakest of the run so far.
Which is a shame because the second Doctor's Dalek stories are really good on TV.
Yeah, I don't know actually. I don't know if I would rather re-listen to that or Jamie, but I think I'm gonna accept your placement of Far From Best.
Okay, I'm sure you'll get your own back on me at some
I
point.
don't, I don't know if this is you getting your own here because it's not like either of us are particularly strong defenders of the second Doctor Adventures.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, the second Doctor's probably the weakest of the relaunch stuff for me, which is weird when you think season 6B has got so much potential, and I just don't think they've tapped into it just yet.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely the most missed potential, but I don't know if it's the weakest because we do have Sixth Doctor to talk about
True, true. I
later.
did.
So
Oh, I feel like that's a hot take. We've got some explaining to do, but we'll get there.
we'll
We'll get
we'll
there.
get there. There you go. You've now got to stick around while we talk about the third, fourth, and fifth Doctors to find out about that hot take.
Yeah, sure.
Uh, right. So now that we've trapped our audience, shall we talk about Kaleidoscope?
Kaleidoscope.
Do 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 do.
What a
This
bizarre one.
this is fun, and I like the journey we've gone on with this one of being really unkeen on it to actually really loving it.
Yeah.
Like I think, yeah, 2022 with the Third Doctor Adventures had something special going on between the Annihilators and this. You're bouncing from one extreme of the Third Doctor era to another, both in terms of at the start versus towards the end, and also in terms of tone.
Yeah.
Because Third Doctor on TV had quite a variety of tones there as Barry Letts settled in a bit more and things got a bit more quirky with the Third Doctor.
Yeah.
And this very much leans into that. This goes full Bob Baker and Dave Martin. It is wild. It has an episode that features a different title sequence and sort of replaces the Third Doctor with a different cast of characters.
It's funny, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's got nuclear disarmament in there as well. It's very topical and feels right for the
It's the
era.
ethos of the era, I would say, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
really going for that.
Yeah, it's one of those ones that's almost a shame when it ends, really. It does feel like it was just kept going and going, but then it reached towards the end of part 6 and it was like, oh, we've got to wrap this up now, haven't we?
Oh, we're done.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a story that I think just gets better every time you visit it because you pick on like new details and stuff, and it's three stories with one title, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know if I want to go dream tier or intelligent storytelling.
I would say intelligence with storytelling. I feel
Fair
like I'm going to
enough.
be quite tight with the top tier.
We can't let any old riffraff in.
No, we've got a standard to
Yeah.
retain here.
And I mean, now we come to intelligence for war, which is. Oh no, sorry, Return of Joe Jones is next, actually.
Oh, I got it wrong. There we go.
Yeah,
So
or one
I'm
of us.
looking around with the tier list when we were setting this up.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Return of Joe Jones, because
From
they've
the
sort of got
highs.
this rhythm at the moment, haven't they? Of
Mm.
you've got Liz, then you've got Sarah, and then you've got older Joe. So for the Third Doctor Adventures, up until this point, they were very much using Katie Manning as the younger Joe, but it was getting a bit straining on her voice doing the younger version all the time. So they instead decided, you know what, relax, Katie. We're gonna reintroduce the Third Doctor to Jo at a later point in her life. She's now a widow and she gets to travel with the Doctor again one last time. And I mean, it's a rather touching idea, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's interesting with these revisiting old companions. The
Yeah.
Companion Chronicles have done this because we had an old Joe meet the Third Doctor in Find and Replace, which I
Hmm.
revisited recently, and it's still so beautiful and powerful.
Hmm.
Um, and it's a shame that this has a missed opportunity because I think the original idea was to have this be the Third Doctor traveling back from Metebelis 3 and Planet of Spiders, where he's got radiation poisoning,
Yeah.
which adds an edge and a bit more interest in the story. You can tell.
It then becomes literally the farewell tour for the Third
Yeah.
Doctor. And there's
It,
something nice about that being both these characters in a way
mhm.
towards the end of their life. Yeah. But instead, it's supposedly set between Green Death and the Time Warrior. But now Operation Vengeance has come along and sort of thrown all that out the window. So
Yeah.
I don't know quite what's happening there, if we're going to get more answers later this year with whatever's next for the Third Doctor and Joe Jones. But for this set, I think it's a rather naff one overall.
Yeah.
There is going to be a trend here of sets that are free two-parters don't seem to hit with us for whatever reason. And it's not like we dislike the two-part format.
We love long form storytelling more.
Yeah, but even that, there's something about these sets where you always end up with one pretty good one and two forgettable ones.
Hmm.
And with this, I think the first and third ones are the forgettable ones, and then the Conservators is just all right in the middle there.
Iron Shore feels like a companion chronicle.
It could have so easily been one.
Yeah, it's a strange box set.
I'm tempted by Empty Vessels for this one.
Yeah.
I mean,
Is it?
the weakest Third Doctor Ventures
I
set
feel like there
overall.
might be one coming up that could rival it personally.
Ah,
For me, I don't know.
we'll see. Intelligence for War, though, is not that one, is it?
No, absolutely not. This is a
This,
good one.
yeah, this is what we were asking for with the Annihilators originally, but the Annihilators end up being better. This isn't going to rival that one, but
No,
it is our season seven-parter, which is purely Third Doctor based. But it's a very good story for Liz as well.
yeah, it's exploring her sort of when she was at uni, isn't it? Sort of that
Mm.
background for her. Eddie Robson, isn't it, writing this one?
Yeah,
He's normally quite a comedic writer. This is him sort of doing quite a serious, straight espionage story for season 7, and it's wonderful. It's going all out there with like the Ambassador of Death twang to really get the
mm,
season 7 feel there. Yeah, it's one I want to revisit actually, and I
yeah.
love
It's
it.
got a good mystery that keeps you wondering throughout. Yeah, I think it's probably intelligence for storytelling.
I think it's only fitting that it goes there.
Yeah. And now we have a revolution in space. We're back to Sarah, and now we are off in space. It's that Monsters of Pelagon style story, but has a good bit of Robots of Death mixed into the opening of it as well.
Hmm.
Like the sequence when the TARDIS arrives, feel like it's ripped straight out of the script for Robots of Death. Uh, but it's one that maybe struggles a bit to contain itself within 6 episodes.
Yeah, it's
Or
it's
sustain itself, rather. Contain itself makes it sound like it's too much for 6 episodes.
no, no,
It's
no.
definitely not.
It's one what I sort of struggled listening to because I really wanted to try and get this story, and like it is definitely go for that monster paladin sort of slow burn, and I think that's Jonathan Morris's intention to make it as authentically six-parter as a Pertwee story can. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think he achieves that, and it's okay. I think it's okay one really.
Decent song or bleak mid-tier?
Um, I would go bleak mid-tier. I would
Uh,
say.
Yeah, I'm not gonna argue that one.
I would say, yeah, because I think it's about the same.
Yeah. And now Quintessence, we're back to older Joe again. This is a much better set for her. I think
Yes,
it's a
absolutely.
six-parter, and for me, I wish they went proper new series with it. I think
Hmm.
that the awkwardness with the older Joe stuff is that similar to what we talked about before the new but second Doctor Adventures, how they seem to be at war with their own identity. These ones very much feel like that, and I feel like that could be solved by a bit more newer Who style music
Yes.
and going for a hour-long approach. I think particularly with the way this is structured, it feels like a new series three-part finale where you
Hmm.
have your Utopia, which is doing one thing, and then you've got your Sound of Drums and Last of the Time Lords in the final four parts of this one, which still very much tie into that first half, but are quite different at the same time. Seeds of Doom, really, it's
Yeah.
that style of story. But yeah, it's one that I think I've appreciated more and more the more I think back on it.
I've revisited this one past few months after sort of being a bit lukewarm on it. And I think it's definitely improved. I think it's a great story for Joe because it really, it's her and a young girl bonding, and it shows that sort of maternal side to her character. Some
Hmm.
great sort of Cyberman body horror, quite experimental in episode 5, which again,
Yeah.
feels very new series.
And in some
Yeah,
ways, early Big Finish as well, I think.
yeah, I can see that.
This is definitely the third Doctor the most outside of his comfort zone I think we've had at Big Finish.
And you get that in Tim's performance really, where he's sort of trying to grapple this sort of how the third Doctor would deal in these sort of certain scenarios, really.
Hmm. Yeah. I think it's decent song.
Yeah, I would say so.
Hmm.
I know a lot of people love it, but yeah, it's not the high highs what we've had in
Yeah.
previous box sets.
Yeah, I think I just like it.
Yeah.
Like it quite a lot, but yeah, not quite love. Now we come to the brain drain. We're again back in seven parts, season seven territory. And it's also got a lot to live up to because it's supposedly the second story for the third Doctor, continuity wise. This is picking up right after Spearhead from Space. So, you've got a lot of, a lot to live up to there, really. And particularly with how Big Finish have tackled this kind of territory before with the Fifth Doctor box set. Psychodrome in that set takes place just after Castrovalva and is very much about that quartet of characters getting to know each other.
Mhm.
You could have really gone for that here with the brain drain, with the Brigadier, taking on the Third Doctor. He's someone who's not quite who he remembers. Liz, who's sort of been usurped by the Third Doctor, she was brought on as a scientific advisor, and now she's an assistant. There could have been a lot of coming together here as they learn to work with each other. But there's just none of that. It's always the potential of a second Third Doctor story.
The characters are too familiar
They really are.
with each other,
It's
and
a
I think
bizarre
that's what
choice.
lets it down because you have the Doctor going missing, and the characters aren't really bothered. Like, oh, he'll show up. The third Doctor is at this point unpredictable. He wants to get away. He wants to leave
Yeah.
this planet. There's no reason for him to stay around. So it just feels weird that they expect him to come back. And when you've got somebody like John Pertwee, he would not allow a Doctor Light story to exist. He kicked off about the Radio Times not being Roger Delgado having a bigger photo than him. So it's a weird one, but it's not really recreating an era as such as what we've had in previous box sets. So I think it's one of the low points in the Third Doctor range because it's just mishandling what it's supposed to do.
Yeah. So I don't mind necessarily that the Third Doctor does take a backseat for this one. I think it does give Liz and the Brig some interesting things to do. But yeah, it's just the fact that they're too familiar with each other, nevertheless.
Mhm.
Like you say, they're fully expecting the Doctor to turn up again, whereas at this point, they shouldn't know each other well enough for that. There should have been more conflict there, more of friends coming together, but it's just sort of doesn't do any of that. And Yeah, and the monsters are a bit weak in this one as well, to be
Yeah,
honest.
they're hard to visualize, I would say as well.
Yeah, I mean, the Scottish location, it should have worked. It should have been quite neat, but yeah, I wanted to like it, but I really couldn't. And it just sort of, the fact that it squanders that potential makes it all the more worse.
Yeah,
I'd say, um, I'd say
it,
far from best.
yeah, yeah, I can agree with that. I like the stuff with the journey up to Scotland. That's all I can
Yeah,
really
that's neat.
say, really,
Them
about
being on
it.
the Caledonian Sleeper.
Yeah, that's quite neat.
Hmm. Yeah, it's just more stuff like that would have been nice. But, uh, anyway, we're now on to Operation Vengeance, the final Third Doctor adventure we'll be talking about today. But not the final Third Doctor adventure ever. We got the Imposters coming out this month. That's rather
Mm.
exciting.
And
So,
this is celebrating 10 years of Tim Trelaw, and he has written this with Nick Briggs.
yeah. And he's very much going for that war buff
Yeah,
vibe, isn't he?
yeah.
Tim loves his war stuff, and he has fully used that interest of his, really researched it, used a lot of the knowledge he already has, and brought that to the story. And that's when this story is really at its best. It does feel like some of the most authentic World War II action that we've had in a Big Finish. And certainly is a location they like to go to often, is it a time period they will visit many stories because there's a lot of potential there. And
I,
so this one, it's sort of following up on that lesser seen side of Dunkirk, the rear guard, the people who are sticking around to make sure that the rest are able to evacuate. And yeah, it's when it's following that, following from the troops' perspective, that things are truly harrowing at times. Like
it,
it doesn't shy away too
it's the
much.
brutality of history. It really
Yeah.
shines that, and I think that, like you say, that's where it really excels. And having the Doctor and the Brigadier at the forefront of
Mm,
it, it's wonderful, really, and sort of getting into the Brigadier's psyche because it's normally the Doctor leading the charge. This is the Brigadier leading the charge, going, Doctor, you have to listen to what I have to say because of my military training. We're going to get through this together if you stick by
mm,
me. So it's wonderful for those two characters.
yeah. It's just a shame that that all doesn't quite marry up with the sci-fi angle of this story, really. And that is quite a hefty chunk early on.
Hmm.
Whenever you get to the World War II stuff, it's really
It's a
enjoyable.
relief.
Yeah. Uh, but yeah, it's funny because for the first episode and a bit, you're following these cutaway sequences with these soldiers, one of whom happens to be Joe Grant's dad.
Hmm.
And, there was this discussion from Big Finish point of view that, oh, what if people don't really care about this? What if people are far more interested in the Third Doctor side of things, which you think you should be?
Yeah.
I was honestly much more interested in what those soldiers were up to during World War II. I could care less
Yeah.
about the Doctor off on some alien planet drinking weird liquids through his fingertips.
Yeah. I can agree with that.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Decent song or a bleak mid tier. Because I think overall, it doesn't come together well.
I
But when it's good, it's good.
I think I've got to go decent song because I think
Yeah.
looking at what's there, I prefer Operation Vengeance.
Yeah, I can agree with that. And I think when it works well, it really works well.
Hmm.
That's, I think that's what makes the whole all the more tragic. The fact that it had that potential if it just leaned into the World War II angle even more.
Yeah, could be definitely in some of the upper tiers.
Yeah. But now we're on to the Fourth Doctor adventures, which are sort of a weird
They don't
place in
count
this
as a
relaunch.
relaunch, do they? Because he was in box sets way before in like 2018, so it's not a massive jump for the Fourth Doctor,
Yeah.
really.
And these box sets are still very much in the style of those earlier box sets. While everyone else moved to 3 disc box sets, the Fourth Doctor here has got 4 and 5 disc box sets for the first 2 years.
Hmm.
Yeah. But Solo, Blood of the Time Lords, really not great.
It's a retread of Deadly
Ravencliff
Assassin.
Witch, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, Ravencliff Witch is the saver of the box. It introduces us to Margaret, who we'll see later on in series 12.
Mm.
But yeah, Blood of a Time Lord, it's just a poor man's Deadly Assassin.
Yeah, it really is.
Pretty
Ah,
much beat for beat, really.
decent song or bleak mid tier. Because I do think there's a lot of good with Ravencliff Witch, and luckily with this one,
You can get
if
it
you're
separate.
okay going download only, you can get them separately. So yeah, if you're wondering about that, I'd go Ravencliff Witch and not bother with Blood of the Time Lords.
Yeah, that's just for Ravencliff Witch.
Yeah, no. And now the 9. This is a meh four-parter, Dreams of Avarice, a really good four-parter in
Shell Shock.
Shell Shock. Yeah, it's a shame that Shell Shock and Ravencliff Witch can have been paired up because then you'd have a brilliant box set.
Oh, that
And
would be Dream Tier, I would
the
say.
detritus of Series 11 would all be bundled into the same box set after that.
I mean, Dreams of Avarice, I like the first 2 episodes. I think Guy Adams really gets the comedy of the Fourth Doctor, but I think it does outstay its welcome a little bit.
Yeah, it felt more like it should have been a two-parter.
And I think with the 9, you get a bonus story, Peak Season, which isn't very peak.
No.
It's really quite bad.
It's despite being a two-parter, I think it's the most sloggiest of
And
the series.
yeah, and it's somewhat a freebie,
Hmm.
but yeah, I can leave it, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all I feel like that's the case with quite a few relaunch stories though, where two-parters are the most of a slog to get through when it's a bad two-parter. Yeah,
Where are we
there's something
thinking?
odd about that, but yeah. Yeah, the 9, far from the best or bleak mid-tier because Shell Shock is really good.
Oh, Shell Shock's probably
I
my
think bleak
favorite of
mid-tier,
the
actually.
Shell Shock's probably my favorite of that series.
Yeah.
Because I think the Fourth Doctor just really suits World War One. I can just
Mm,
picture it so vividly.
yeah.
But speaking of picture vividly, Final Frontier,
Yeah. New Frontier.
New Frontier, my bad.
It's the one that comes after the final one.
That's true. Ice Heist, I think it's called.
Yeah, that's the first one.
Banger. It's Fourth Doctor and Ice Warriors. It's sort of what I've wanted for a long time, and it's just so TV. Fourth Doctor, like the outburst Tom has, it just feels so right.
Mm,
And yeah, these sort of Ice Warriors raiding an art gallery, and they're sort of get mixed up within there, and then you've got one of Margaret's sculptures there, and it just sells the alienness of the Fourth Doctor, which I think this is a brilliant story. I really love it. And then Until the Lost was quite 60s, quite early adventure-esque.
yeah, that's what I loved about the most, really. I got more of an early adventure vibe from that than I did from the Outlaws, funnily enough.
Okay, okay.
It definitely had that vibe to it of things like the Outliers, you know.
Or an ideal world I got quite a bit.
Yeah, that as well. That's another one that gives a strong vibe of. But yeah, I think that's my favorite of the set. But I also really like Ice Heist. I
Hmm.
think none of them rival the highs of Ravencliff Witch and Shell Shock. But it was nice to have a Fourth Doctor box set that
Both stories are
wasn't
good.
both polar opposites in stories. It's just two pretty
Solid.
good stories together. So
Yeah.
I said decent song or intelligence for storytelling.
Hmm. I think you got to go there.
Because I think the next one is intelligence for storytelling.
Oh, Stone Cold,
Hmm.
beautiful. Fourth
Yeah.
Doctor versus Weeping Angels. Dream.
Really
It's a
classic
dream one.
feeling. Hmm.
Yeah, it's really good. And then the bonus story goes to Margaret by Tim Foley. Rips your heart out. It's a wonderful little bonus story what you could only get in this box set, and it's worth picking up
Feels
this
like
box
a
set.
fitting epilogue for Series 12.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Friendly Invasion, I also really like. That's a decent two-parter. Alongside that, you've got
Wizard of Time, isn't it?
Wizard of Time. Yeah, that's the weakest of the set, but it's a two-parter, so it doesn't drag it down as much.
It doesn't outstay its welcome.
Yeah,
But
that
it's a
also
fun
helps
one.
there. yeah, it's a two-parter that doesn't feel like a slog at least.
Yeah, great set.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely the highlights of this set are Stone Cold and the Ghost of Margaret. Stone Cold in particular. Yeah, it's a good one.
It's a good one. And then speaking of a good one, Storm of the Sea Devils.
Yeah, this is a nice, fun four-parter that feels, quite authentic, but also doing something very different.
It's riffing off a bit of Seeds of Doom in a way, I feel.
Yeah, you definitely got the villain of this isn't the Sea Devils, it's the businessman.
And that's got some quite James Bond-esque moments for like the crocodiles and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And I love how the Sea Devils are sort of built up with like the sort of drawings, which
Hmm.
you can easily picture. And yeah, it's beautiful. And I think it's such a nice twist on how the Sea Devils are in this sort of marshland. It's not
Yeah,
going for the traditional Sea Devil thing of they're coming out of the seas, as you'd
yeah.
expect.
Yeah,
So
these
yeah,
are freshwater Sea Devils
yeah. So
or Swamp Devils, even.
yeah, yeah, it's a great story. Harry and Naomi are great. And yeah, this is the start of Naomi having a terrible time, really, because I think she gets pretty much drowned in all the stories she's in, pretty much. Because
Wouldn't surprise me.
it happens in the Toy Maker one, I remember. And I can't remember if it happens in Dominant Species, but yeah, she goes through some rough times.
Yeah, Worlds Beyond it happens in, doesn't it?
Yeah, so yeah, pretty much all three.
Yeah. But yeah, Worlds Beyond is the two-parter that's paired with Storm of the Sea Devils in this set. Fourth Doctor Ventures has now gone into the free disc format, but you get three sets of it a year, so you still get the same amount of Fourth Doctor as before. You're still getting more of him than any other Doctor a year, which, I mean, it's Tom. We forgive it.
It's a comfort
We're
range.
not going to complain. So, yeah, overall, Worlds Beyond wasn't great, but because it's a two-parter paired with a strong four-parter, I think it gives it more leeway.
Yeah,
So
and
I say intelligent storytelling.
yeah, I can agree. I think it's one when we reviewed it and we spoke about it, we fell in love with it even more.
Yeah, things clicked, didn't they? And then I think I've gone to re-listen to it since then and got a lot out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Metamorphosis, though. The
Worst.
fourth Doctor series at the moment seems to be doing a four-parter at the beginning and the end, and then five two-parters in the middle.
Mhm.
And the four-parters are by far where this series thrives the most and is the strongest. Metamorphosis doesn't have a four-parter, so it's a dud for me. Yeah,
It's got some
none
of
of
the
these
lowest
stories
points.
quite hit. I'll be honest.
I like the setup from the previous story for the Toy Maker. That's
Mm.
quite neat. The Wombat story I think was utter rubbish for me. I know you quite like that one.
Yeah,
And
that's one
then
I had the most fun with. Yeah. Metamorphosis, the final story in this set, which brings back the Crispy Master. That felt the most disappointing.
yeah, it's I feel tempted to say empty vessels for it.
I'm not going to argue that.
Yeah,
Stick it down there.
it's a bit of a low point personally.
Yeah. But Dominant Species, like we say, four-parter. It's a brilliant four-parter. The two-parter in it is all right, actually. I think Facing the Storm.
It doesn't need a sci-fi element. I think this is a thing where it could have worked beautifully as a
Mm,
historical.
yeah, I think that's its main downfall.
'Cause it's a good little character piece for Naomi, but yeah, it doesn't need the sci-fi element. But dominant species, it sells the fear factor of the quarks, which I didn't know was possible. But it's such an interesting format John Dorney's done for this story with sort of the time jumps. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
really, really solid stuff. Really.
yeah, it's action-packed. It's a romp. It feels like a modern version of the Dominators in many ways.
Yeah.
I think in our review of it, I compared it to, the Dominators is a New Hope. This is the Force Awakens.
Yeah. I can see that.
It's that style of rebooting it. And yeah, it takes a lot from the original, but never feels like it's just copying and pasting.
Hmm.
It very much builds the world, builds the characters of the Dominators, and yeah, like I say, it makes them more terrifying. It makes them more of a credible threat. And Harry dresses as a Dominator on the cover there. What more could you ask for? I think this one's intelligence with storytelling.
Easy, easy, without a doubt. It's a
Uh,
cracker.
uh, the one four-parter of the Fourth Doctor Adventures recently that we have not got as much enjoyment out of, though, is the Hellwood Inheritance.
It has all the hallmarks to be a classic Fourth Doctor story, this sort of ghost safari park.
Hmm.
Uh, you know, and it has this sort of Image of the Fendar feel at times,
Yeah.
but it just burns through its ideas so quickly, and it just sticks with
Honest,
the least interesting ones.
part one's cliffhanger feels like it should have been part three's cliffhanger. It's like it peaks too soon, doesn't it? And you're like,
Hmm.
right, well, where do you go now? And it doesn't really go in an interesting direction. It has that, like you said, ghost safari park setup, and then just doesn't really do anything with the ghosts.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah. And then the memory
Memory
thieves,
Thieves.
that forgettable,
Yeah,
ironically.
story about memory. You struggle to think about it,
Hmm.
really.
I think far from best.
Yeah.
And I mean, that put me off for Touch Adventures quite a while, actually. It was a little
Wow.
bit until I did get around to the ruins of Kerula.
Yeah, this is sort of a four-parter separated into two, isn't it?
Mm. With an extra Brigadier and Leader story thrown on the end.
Which is my favorite Cry of the Banshee. I don't think the K Ruler stuff did much for me personally. I'm struggling to remember it.
I think I got a bit more out of the K Ruler stuff, particularly the first one.
Hmm.
I think the second one is sort of similar to what we were saying about Hellwood. It wastes all its good ideas early on and sticks to some less interesting ones.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's a fascinating look at, who holds responsibility for the ecological ruin of a world. Would, if, say, we lived in a time where the world has rebuilt after some great disaster, and then the people responsible for that disaster started time traveling to us, would we see them as refugees and take them in, or would we look down on them? And it does make you think, I feel.
Hmm.
Yeah. But ultimately, it's just an all right. I think it's a decent song, the whole set.
Okay.
Hmm. Were you leaning lower or?
I was thinking in the bleak mid tier, but I can take it. I can take it there.
Yeah, I think it's one I wouldn't fight either way. I think both are fitting places for it.
I think one we're not going to fight over is the Last Queen of the Nile.
Yeah, so we were saying earlier about, a historical that didn't really need the sci-fi stuff thrown into it. They learned their lesson with Last Queen of the Nile because it is a pure historical
Which is
epic.
rare for Big Finish
Yeah.
now.
And it works so well with the Fourth Doctor K9 and Leela putting them into this style of story that they wouldn't usually be in. It's much more 60s in many ways, but it also feels like a film, really. It is that epic. It has that much scale to it. The tragedy of, uh,
Mark
yeah,
Antony and Cleopatra.
yeah, that love story. It's so well done and so realistically realized. It's not, this happy painted couple. They are
Warts and all, isn't it?
instead, yeah, they're at each other's throats half the time. It's very real and shows, just how complicated love can be, really, and doesn't try to water things down.
And you have this looming presence of Octavian come in to storm
Yeah.
Egypt and stuff. And yeah, it's historical that shouldn't work because it's the Fourth Doctor, Leela, and K9, which are probably, when you think of historical, what TARDIS scene would work in that setting.
Mm.
They don't scream historical, but each character is utilized so wonderfully. Leela's the bodyguard, K9's Cleopatra's oracle,
Yeah.
Fourth Doctor's Mark Antony's gesture. Yeah, they're all wonderfully realized within this, and I think the grey areas of history about how Cleopatra is demised leads to some beautiful moments with Leela,
Mm,
and the aftermath of that is so powerful.
yeah. And again, it's sort of similar to those 60 stories, but the TARDIS team, it's all about getting back to the TARDIS.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's their aim. And there's something wonderful about that simplicity of it, that the danger comes from history itself, these surroundings, these characters who could turn them on a knife edge, really. There's a lot of political one-upmanship going on. Characters are kept alive so long as they're useful. And so there's a very dangerous political game that the Fourth Doctor, Leela, and K9 are all caught up in. And all sort of have their own stakes in as well.
yeah.
Sometimes they're playing against each other within that. It's fascinating. You've also got Conspiracy of Silence, little two-parter here, experimental, fine, but I think it's still the dream tier. I don't think that
Yeah,
story impacts how good The Last Queen of the Nile is
it's
as
it's
the
so good.
the main dish in this story, in this
It,
set.
it's the title of the box set, so it naturally
Yeah.
works.
Yeah. Now we're on to Fifth Doctor. The Fifth Doctor's 40th anniversary, fittingly titled 40.
Hmm.
41 though is a bit weak.
Yeah, I think that this. I think Return to Telos. I think no, it's not. Secret to Telos. I'm getting
Secret
mixed up.
Stars, yeah.
I think the first two episodes are great, and I
Oh, they're
think
brilliant. I love them.
they're wonderful. I think the second half of the story is a bit naff,
Goes downhill.
and then God of War. It's the
Maybe the
most.
weakest Fifth Doctor adventure.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
and I
yeah,
think
out of the relaunch.
yeah, I agree, and I think the handling of Ice Warriors and Vikings is, it should work. It really should
Hmm.
work, but it just doesn't come together.
No. Yeah. Bleak mid tier.
Yeah, yeah. I think we can
Because
both
I,
agree where this next one goes.
yeah. Because I do think those first two episodes of Secret of Telos do.
Elevator.
They're really, yeah, they are really good. And then ultimately, 40 ends in a very positive place. It's
Mhm.
it's a dream tier, isn't it? I think we're agreed on that.
Yeah, this is
Tim Foley
basically
six-parter.
Tim Foley six-parter,
What more
and
do
it
you need to
just
say?
feels so celebratory for the Fifth Doctor era. It has the Five Doctors celebratory feel to it, and just how it all knits together. It's superb. The twists and turns. It's it's just chef's kiss, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. And like I said, it's the Five Doctors, but for just the Fifth Doctor,
Hmm.
really. And it goes to some exciting places. You've got the Brigadier in there as well. Chameleon's back. It feels wonderfully nestled into season 21 continuity while also being able to do its own thing. Yeah, brilliant, really brilliant. More like this, and
Yeah.
more like this is coming, thankfully, because Tim Foley is quite a prolific writer when it comes to the Fifth Doctor adventures.
Hmm.
But we don't have one from him in this next set.
And that might be why
Think
it's his
that's-
weakest set.
Yeah, two three-parters here. Friendly Fire didn't do much for me. The Edge of the War, again, World War Two, like we say, that's a popular setting to go back to. Uh, but
It starts
it's
something
one
but
I
doesn't
wanted to like
finish.
more than I did.
Yeah. 'Cause it starts something with Tegan, but it never carries through into the next box set.
No.
Yeah, I think this is pretty empty vessels, to be fair.
Yeah, I'm not gonna fight you on that one. I'd have gone far from best, but I think Empty Vessels is also a fitting place for it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm struggling to remember it, and I think for Fifth Doctor, who was such a high standard for us because we love his monthly rage
Yeah.
stuff, this just feels a bit of a low point for him.
Mm. Luckily, things pick up though with In the Night, particularly Pursuit of the Nightjar, the four-parter, the main meat of this one. Tim Foley. Oh, okay, it is beautiful. I re-listened to it not too long ago and absolutely adored it. It pulls on the heartstrings. It's such a unexpected story in where it goes. And, it's all set on this spaceship that is traveling to give relief aid. And it's all about those dangers that you come across in space and constantly feels like these characters are clinging on to survive, and just more and more stuff gets thrown at them. It really does show how hostile space is, how unforgiving that environment is. Yeah, it tells a wonderful story in the process about companionship.
And it's the story that inspired the Doctor to be the person he is early, and he's
Yeah,
living his in that story. And yeah, it's got an interesting message about stories and how we tell them. And
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, about perhaps never meeting your heroes. Yeah, it's wonderful.
and then
Uh,
Resistor is fun. I think that's a fun
yeah,
two-parter.
I didn't mind that one. I think. Yeah, so I'd say intelligence of storytelling.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Now, Dream Team, this is your baby.
Oh, I love the Merfolk Murders. Again, Tim Foley, four-parter. It's the main meat of this set, and it's a wonderful, cozy murder mystery story set up in Scotland, at St Andrews University, and it's all about this group of people who, like doing these murder mystery stories, like reading them, discussing them, and suddenly they get caught up in one, and the Fifth Doctor gets to play detective, but at the same time, it's exploring both the tropes of those detective stories and also the impact that they have on real lives.
Mm.
Ultimately, a murder, it's all fun, murder mystery, body in the library. How do we solve this? But then
When it becomes
the doctor
personal,
stops and starts thinking more about it. It's like, no, people's lives are getting ruined here. These are tragedies that are very much wrapped up in cozy fun stories. And yeah, it's wonderful how it both is able to explore that without losing that vibe to it still. I think it's gorgeous stuff. The setting is wonderful, so evocative, so well realized by the cast and sound design. Yeah, and then you get Dream Team alongside it with the uh, Dream Crabs,
hmm
which is it's no resistor. It's not quite the fun two-parter to go along with the set, but Dream Team is so strong that I couldn't care less about what goes alongside it.
yeah,
It's the Dream Team, the Dream tier for me.
yeah, I I can't disagree. It's really good.
Hmm. Yeah, four-parter easily worth price with Mission alone, and then Dream Team itself, the two-part story, is fine.
Great
Yeah,
Beyond, however, hmm,
yeah. This six-parter for the Fifth Doctor, Adric, Tegan, and Nyssa, it drags.
it's so bad.
Yeah, I want to like it, but there's a lot that doesn't quite play in its favor.
Where are we thinking? Far from best, empty vessels.
Uh, I think Empty Vessels actually. I'd say it's on par with
Yeah,
its interest. Yeah,
Hooklight, Trials of a Big Finish listener. Would you say?
yeah. Stick it down there. Let's move on.
Yeah, I mean Hooklight one.
Oh,
It is spectacular.
it is. It truly is. This is Tim Foley doing Lord of the Rings, Doctor Whoified, and
Yeah,
it's this whole realm called Mourning,
the Second
which has
Age,
yeah,
beautiful. You
wonderful
don't think
world
that for
building.
space, do you? Like, there's different ages, but yeah, it works so well. It's the similarity in Lord of the Rings, isn't it?
Yeah, it's wonderful how they sum that up as well within the story. Discussing that mourning has this like mythic matter that just
Mm.
makes things feel different, that just gives it a different vibe. It's its own little corner of the universe, which is unique and gets explored wonderfully throughout this 12-part story. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Hook Like One has the advantage of splitting the characters up, throwing them in all different directions, and really expanding the world both in space and in time as well. It's Doctor Who, so you're going back in time as well, seeing the first stage and such. And it does so brilliantly with the cast of characters that it has. There's some rather clever techniques it uses
hmm
in the writing to allow actors to double up and, you know, expand things on the cheap, as it were.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I had Hook like one. I
It's got
want
to
to
be
go
Dream
Dream
Team.
Tier.
I
Yeah.
mean, I mentioned it with Annihilators, where you listen to it and there's just something when you listen to it where it clicks and you go, "This is something special." I
Mm,
had that with Hook Like One.
yeah. And I do think Hook like 2 carries it on pretty well,
It's still
but
solid.
it has the disadvantage of whereas Hook Like 1 was expanding everything out, throwing it in all different directions, Hook Like 2 now has to start bringing things together.
Hmm.
And while it does so pretty well, there's that shrinking feeling of it, isn't there?
Yeah.
And yeah, ultimately, when you've got a story this sprawling, this epic, there's you're never going to live up to those expectations of a finale, of a
Hmm.
conclusion to it. And it does admirably, but I think ultimately it's probably intelligence for storytelling.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
It doesn't quite hit those same highs as Hook Like One did, but at the same time, I think it's still a really strong 12-parter overall, and I've loved that Big Finish has been able to take this approach with the relaunch and with the Fifth Doctor Ventures in particular.
Yeah, it's definitely a standout of this run, really.
Yeah, I mean it's a monolith
Yeah,
in
it
many
really
ways.
is.
Yeah, and it's yeah. I miss the Fifth Doctor now actually because since we got a 12-parter with him, it meant that we burned through all our Fifth Doctor for last year pretty
Mm.
quick. So yeah, I'm eager for more Fifth Doctor at this point. Sixth Doctor is who we're talking about now. And
Is
Sixth
this
Doctor's
Sixth
got a
Doctor?
new companion to kick off his relaunch in the form of Hebe Harrison, played by Ruth Madeley, who we then went on to see on TV as Shirley Ann Bingham, funnily enough.
Mm.
Uh, yeah, Waterworlds. Rotting Deep, good start, I'd say. And then the other two stories didn't do much for me.
I think it's one of those ones where it has a theme of water related stuff. And I think you get to sort of a second story, you're like, okay. And then the third story, you're kind of over it.
Yeah, that's the problem, really. Um, Far from best or bleak mid-tier?
I'd say far from best. Like, it didn't leave a good taste in my mouth when I listened to this.
Bit of a salty one, wasn't
Yeah, quite literally.
it?
However,
There's a war between the land and the sea joke to be made there if anyone wants to get at it in the comments.
I'll find you. Right.
However,
Purity and Dreams.
uh, possibly weakest of the Purity Saga.
It's got this nice sort of kitchen sink confrontation between the Doctor
Oh,
and
that
the
was brilliant,
villain.
actually.
That's
Yeah.
really good.
It's just everything around it that didn't quite come together.
Yeah.
Hmm. It's also all set in Sheffield or around Sheffield or near
That's
enough
another
to
thing
Sheffield.
about Waterworld where it has a cliffhanger going, oh no, we're going to Sheffield. Like it's such like an anticlimax.
Yeah, because they didn't even reveal it in the story. The reveal comes in the news article for the following set. It's like, why would you do that? Why do you
Yeah.
keep that a secret? I don't know. It's yeah,
We said we'd
yeah.
have hot
Purity
takes
Under the
for
Dreamed, Trials of a Big Finish listener, or no, I think Empty Vessels actually
yeah.
for the kitchen scene.
Yeah, we said about the Sixth Doctor we'd have hot takes, and I feel like we're delivering them here.
Yeah, because I think there's so many good ideas with Purity. What
What it's trying to say is
why it is called Purity
yeah.
is a shocking one, and it certainly explores those more in the next two sets. But yeah, Purity is it Unleashed or Unbound? I can't
I think
remember
it's
which.
unleashed.
Unleashed, yeah. Unfortunately, where we got into this format, the image is slightly too small to see the title. But yeah, the third Sixth Doctor adventure, I think it's the best of the Hebe stuff, which feels wrong to say because Hebe's hardly in this one.
This is where I dropped off, to be fair.
So
Like
it's all down to me then. Okay,
yeah,
great. Yeah, moving on.
get that.
No,
No,
it's
get
not
out.
that good.
No.
But this is the most fun I've had. It's going into history, which I think is a good setting for the Sixth Doctor. I think he does well there. You've got a story which sort of feels in line with the Peterloo Massacre. It's that style of tragedy being built up to in the Industrial Revolution era.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, overall, I think it's the decent song, actually, this
Okay.
one.
You got a nice sort of Broadway story with Mel, which I remember
Yeah,
quite
that's
like him.
that's good fun, actually. Yeah. And then Purity Unbound, where it all wraps up. Yeah. It has similar problems to the potential Daleks, actually, the more I think about it. It's sort of going through a lot of those same issues where it almost tries to wrap itself up and then keeps wrapping itself up, and it just gets all tied together awkwardly.
Hmm.
The second story I was quite excited for, that had a lot of potential, being at this like service station just outside of Peace Pottage where the Doctor's sort of trapped out of time. That should have been amazing, and it just wasn't. And the final story didn't do anything for me either. The first story I sort of got through expecting the second and third one to be better, and like I've just said, they weren't. So I think it's another empty vessel.
Okay.
Hmm.
Now we go to celebrate Colin's 40th anniversary. Now, Quinn Dilemma, it is celebrating, I guess, the big finish side of the Sixth Doctor,
Yeah, it's
of the
all where the
character.
Sixth Doctor's been since his era
Hmm.
in those 40 years. Yeah. And so this is six one-parters in a way, but they all tie together. And also, the two middle ones are pretty much a two-parter with
With the
Lake
Sontarans, yeah.
Constance and the Sontarans. Yeah,
That's really good.
yeah, that's the strongest stuff.
Great character
Overall, though, I
stuff.
think it's less than the sum of its parts.
Yeah, I feel like this is a bit of a disappointing one, really.
Mm,
Because
yeah.
I think the overall theme of like the whole bring the Doctor's head and the Quinn stuff
Is where it's
isn't,
at its weakest.
yeah, and that's sort of the main crux of this box set. Whereas the individual elements like Thousand Year Four with the Sixth Doctor and Parry, I love. I think that's probably my favorite story of the set. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
not that great as a set personally.
No, I think in the bleak mid tier.
Yeah, yeah, I can agree because the Sontaran two parts is great.
So, from a box set named after the Sixth Doctor's first story, we go to a box set named after the Sixth Doctor's last story in the Trials of a Time Lord. So, this is very metatextual. It's the Doctor being thrown within a TV show where he's
This
forced to face familiar foes
everything.
and all sorts. It's very much more a celebration of his TV era, as
Yeah,
it's got Mel and an older Perry, but a different older Perry from the older Perry we've had in other Sick Doctor adventures, because that's not confusing enough as it is. Uh, as well as Cybermen, Androgams, Daleks, Davros, all the
the
familiar faces
yeah.
from his TV run turn up here.
It's a kid with all the action figures, and it just does too much, and it's so many twists and turns where it's just going for reaction rather than substance with it.
Yeah. It starts off strong.
First episode is great, yeah.
Yeah. And then it goes a bit off the rocker. And you think, right, you're going to bring it home for the final two, aren't you? And it really doesn't. Yeah.
It's just trying to top itself with going, how can I beat the last twist?
Yeah. When,
And yeah, just feels rather hollow by the end of it.
yeah. I'd say far from best.
Yeah.
I don't know. That part of me feels like I'd rather re-listen to it than Quinn Dilemma.
Should we swap these two around?
I don't know, because I feel like Quinn Dilemma has the better stuff in it as well. When it,
Should we put them together?
yeah, I guess so.
Yeah,
I think they are pretty on par, actually.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Cosmos and Mrs. Clark now. It's another naff Sick Doctor set, to be honest.
I like the Marco Polo story. It's a nice reverse Marco Polo. It's
Hmm.
trying to do an interesting Dalek story, but ultimately it's not that interesting.
No. There's a new series twist that comes into that story that if you weren't a fan of in the new series, you won't be a fan of here either.
Mm.
Yeah, it's almost trying to build on that and redeem it, but it doesn't. It just compounds why it was a bad idea.
Yeah, so
Yeah. And then the final story is just really forgettable and really weird.
yeah, it's a weird box set.
Mm. It feels like a filler box set. It feels like, the oh, who have we got around during COVID who can record with us? Oh, let's quickly throw something together for them to record.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does feel like that.
Empty Vessel?
Yeah.
Yeah, would not recommend Cosmos and Mrs. Clark. But Bad Terms, this
We can
is
talk
two
about this now.
three-parters. Yes, we can, because it has been revealed that Turlo features in the second story of the set, Red for Danger, which should have been obvious by the title, really, shouldn't it?
And all the little Easter egg, like little nods what it's going for.
Yeah.
Perfect.
You're constantly wondering, oh, are we really going here throughout this? And then you think, oh no, maybe we're not. Oh wait, we are. And then you get Turlo at the end. It
And you're
turns
like,
out Mark
yes.
Frickson's been in it all along. There was something special about that, I think. Just
Oh,
that
it was, yeah,
experience. The
really
story
good.
itself is good fun by Ned Fountain. Uh Tertia of the Seven Seas, though, the three-part pirate story. Big Finish and pirate stories just don't seem to go together recently. With this and the Flying Dutchman.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Stick to the Sixth Doctor and Evelyn pirate story. You'll have a better time.
Yeah. I think decent song.
Yeah, mainly for Turlo.
Yeah. Yeah. Red for Danger really stand out. Hopefully that energy carries on into their next set.
Fingers crossed. So
Uh,
Seventh Doctor,
yeah.
interesting bunch here, I would say.
Hmm. Seventh Doctor, it feels like he's had a weird run with the relaunch because one of the things we were promised was, the last day, what he was up to then towards the
Oh
end of his
boy.
life. But we didn't end up getting that until a couple of releases in. Instead, we start off early in his lifetime with some Mel stuff, which, similar to what I was saying about the Constant set just now, feels more like, oh, who's around who can record with us rather than what stories do we want to tell.
I mean, it's nice to get more Seven and Mel because I don't. We'd not had it since I think 2015.
Yeah.
They lumped Mel and Ace together, so it was nice just to have, I guess season 24. And I think you get that with the Cyberman story. It feels, Cybermen in season 24. It's got that sort of feel to it.
Yeah, I think
And
that's a fun story. That's a
yeah,
fun new one.
it's a really good one actually.
Yeah. But then the four-parter in the set, the Reboss Inheritance, I didn't do much for me, to be honest.
Yeah, it's trying to hint at where the Seventh Doctor will go
But it
in
just
terms
feels
of,
so candid in it.
yeah,
It's like, I am evil-ish. I'm very grey, and you will like me because of it. It's like, you're just trying a bit too hard with it.
yeah. It's one I sort of forget about this set really.
Yeah, and that's kind of unsurprising because it does very
It
much
sticks out.
feel. It doesn't feel like the start of what the Seventh Doctor Adventures relaunch is.
Hmm.
I wouldn't get. I'd maybe go Far From Best, or maybe in Bleak Mid-Tier, one of the two.
I'll go there.
Yeah. Yeah. Sullivan Cross AWOL. Now, this is sort of the start of something new for the Seventh Doctor Adventures, as we're picking up where the Fourth Doctor left Harry and Amy off, but at the time we were picking up on it, they hadn't even started yet with the Fourth Doctor.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, you got London Orbital here, which is a contemporary story about this other world living right alongside ours of elves and such that Harry and Naomi get caught up in. And the Seventh Doctor's sort of more on the sidelines at first.
He's in the shadows, isn't he, in part one?
Yeah, it's very much a Harry and Naomi story to begin with. And then Scream of the Daleks, there was something about 2022 and the Seventh Doctor two-parters that hit much harder than the four-parters.
I mean, I really like London Orbital. Personally, I think it's a really good four-parter, but that's just me probably.
Yeah. But do you prefer Scream of the Daleks?
I actually prefer London Orbital over Scream of the
really?
Daleks, yeah.
Oh.
I still like Scream of the Daleks. I think that's a real fun little two-parter. So I think for me, it's intelligence for storytelling. I like this set.
I'd lean more towards decent song,
Okay.
but I'll let you have intelligent storytelling.
Okay. Okay.
Then we come to Far From Home, which carries on the Harry and Naomi travels with the Seventh Doctor brilliantly. This, I think, is my favorite Seventh Doctor box set.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I like Wicked for different reasons, but yeah, I like the
Yeah.
Vashnarada story in this for sure.
Yeah. And I think Naomi's arc is brilliant as well.
Yeah, that's really
The
good.
Lost in Space and her teaming up this younger cast of characters and very much being a mentor to them. They're very much questioning, whether they want to keep traveling with the Doctor or whether it is just a, stop gap for them.
Mhm.
And obviously, with Harry and Naomi being two different characters, they're both looking for two different things. And I think what's wonderful about that is that they've teased it here and then they actually follow through with that in a couple of sets down the line
Yeah.
for us, but the next set that they appear in, Pass Forward. And so I think there's a wonderful arc here with Harry and Naomi, how they have, um, you know, gone through that and told all that, which I appreciate because it does allow this set to have that much more impact that, there are actual consequences to what they are debating in their heads in this set.
Mm.
Yeah. So, I, yeah, two brilliant stories. I think it's intelligence for storytelling again.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah. Okay.
This is a low point.
Yeah. We've had a few chats about not living up to potential.
I'm just gonna go up,
This is,
up.
mm, I think it has some good in it though, but
No,
yeah.
I think that this
Overall,
had so much potential. This could have been the Seventh Doctor's last adventure, but
mm,
the homework you've got to do, it just makes it so inaccessible for people who want to check out this because this feels like it's for the box set fans, this is, isn't it? But yeah, you've got to check out the third Doctor Adventures randomly because of a character within it. You've got to there's like the black and white TARDIS arc with the characters that feature in it, and it's just so much reading list for very little reward, and it just becomes incomprehensible with everything it's trying to do. It just gets weighed down with so many plot threads.
see, I don't necessarily agree with that criticism that you have to listen to this, and this, because I think a lot of it you can get away without. Like the third Doctor adventure you mentioned there, I think that's just a character who appears within it, and her backstory is pretty easily explained within the story itself.
Mm.
I mean, there's certain other parts that maybe you do need a bit more homework with, but I think the main crux of what you're saying with it getting tied up and then not making sense at the end is, a very valid and accurate criticism because I don't know what they were going for with where they eventually get to here.
I mean, I think this is 6 hours of my life wasted. Personally,
I think,
I am
yeah,
not. I don't think I will revisit this.
no. I think it's got some redeeming parts. I think Ace and Kane are a nice combo.
I don't think
Like
that
everything
redeems
Kane
it.
related is brilliant in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's this odd thing it's also trying to do where it's trying to be like this climax of things that have already had a climax, like the Hector slash Hex stuff.
Yeah.
Like that's coming back into play again, and it just feels too late for that in some ways. Like, that already had its ending, and this just sort of feels like it's digging up that old ground. I like Hex within it, but yeah, it's a weird one. Yeah, I'm not going to argue on with you on
I
that.
think something's got to go there. And I
Hmm.
think that this is the lowest point of the relaunch for me.
Yeah. Like there's a reason Hook Light is up as high as it is, and that's the one we remember as the 12-parter. Despite this doing the 12-parter first, it sort of isn't at the same time because it's more anthology at times.
Hmm.
Like you'll have an episode that is focused on
Benny
Ace,
and
what
Mel.
she's up to. You've got, yeah, Benny and Mel off doing their thing. Yeah. There's stuff to like within there. But because of where it takes that stuff by the end, it's not worth it. Yeah, Last Day Part Two definitely bomb. Maybe Part One Empty Vessels or Far From Best, but I think Part Two belongs at the bottom.
I'll be fair.
Yeah. 'Cause like we split Hook Light up,
Yeah.
so I think we can split Last Day up as well there. Because
Yeah.
yeah, Last Day Part 1, I think, is where it could have gone in a good direction still. It wasn't completely wasted at that point. There was still hope.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh,
Kanaki, I
Kanaki,
think.
the Doctor and Kanaki, Kanaki and the Doctor. I can't remember which way around. I think it's the Doctor and Kanaki is the
Yeah.
title. It,
This has the Waterworld film theme where it has this thing what it's going for, and I think when you listen to the second story, like okay, but they're all doing very similar things, really.
yeah, it's Hyde syndrome, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which it just feels like an odd box set. Like we say, the Seventh Doctor Adventures feel like they're going through an odd time with the relaunch.
Yeah.
But there's no cohesion to what they're doing. It's just randomly, oh, another older Seventh Doctor set, but this time he's traveling alone.
Mhm.
I, hmm. I think it's far from the best.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Now we come to Pass Forward, and the Harry and Naomi stuff continues to be the high of the Seventh Doctor Adventures here. And sadly, it wraps up, but we get a new companion, or an old face as a new companion in the form of Sarah Griffiths as Ray.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's the combo that I think people were waiting a
It's what
long
Big
time
Finish are
for.
made
She
for.
was the proto ace, wasn't she?
Yeah. We got
Uh,
Mags before Ray, which is wild.
yeah. It was very much like, what took you so long to finish? But I like what they've done with Ray here in that
Yeah.
we are picking up with her 20 years on, and she does feel like she has grown within that time.
Hmm.
She's now leading a group of children, sort of counseling them, which feels very right for her character. And, has a moment where she passes on her bike. Yeah, it all feels right with
Mhm.
her in the set. And it also feels like the right way to say goodbye to Harry and Naomi. And it's got Weeping Angels with a
Such a
twist.
unique
It's,
Weeping Angel story, isn't it?
yeah. Hmm. I think there's one thing that annoys me within this, and that is McCoy's performance when he's playing himself alongside himself.
Hmm.
It's like for some reason he puts on a funny voice, and then you get to the end of the story and you're like, there was no need to do that.
That's McCoy.
But that aside, I think this is intelligence for storytelling.
It's sort of like the perfect sort of Big Finish series because it's just the right amount of box sets where you're like, I'm satisfied, but I still want more of it.
Yeah, nice trio there. And then we are getting more of it in a way because the race stuff will continue.
Yeah, that is true.
So it's nice how they dovetail into each other there without over milking the right. I'm going to get you home this time, Harry and Naomi. Oh no, this isn't home. It's the right balance there. And also, again, talk about the relaunch. This is something that you couldn't do in the monthly range. The way this plays about with that structure of it, it's a four-parter with a two-parter in the middle. It's also kind of a six-parter, and it's kind of three two-parters. Yeah, it's wonderful how that works in that the stories all weave into each other in such a timey-wimey way. Yeah, I rate that structure, how that set came together.
I mean,
it makes it more than the sum of its parts, really.
yeah. Speaking of timey-wimey, we're finally getting the Seven Dwarf Aces' first adventures in Wicked.
Yeah, right back to the start, just after Dragonfire picking up there with these characters who have clearly known each other a little while in
Remembrance of the
Remembrance of the
Daleks.
Daleks. Yeah. I mean, like we were saying about the brain drain earlier, there's something about that potential of going back and doing these second stories. This is Ace's enemy of the world in many ways. And yeah, I think Backwards and the Heels, the first story in the set, really lives up to that potential.
It's
one, she's getting that stranger danger syndrome of, right, I don't actually know this man I've just chosen to run away with.
yeah. And you sort of get that within the story with like the character's question, like why are you with him if you don't know who he is and stuff like that. And this is what I like. It's McCoy starting to flex the sort of Times champion that he's sort of dealing with these lesser like godlike beings, ready for the elder gods like Fenric and gods of Ragnarok. So I think this is perfect sort of proto chess player McCoy and very sort of ghost monument in a way, I would say, with a sort of treasure hunt round London.
Yeah. And you've also got, that unfinished business angle that the Seventh Doctor loves so much.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, that's all played very well there. The second story in the set sort of seems to forget that premise a little bit. Like, it's not explicitly later in their timeline, but you definitely get the vibe that they've been on a few adventures here, and it feels like they missed the memo that this was supposed to be Ace's third adventure. Instead, it feels
Yeah.
like Ace's 10th or 15th, It only would have taken a couple of lines to make it flow better with the rest of the set. But then you get to the final story, which is possibly the best of the set. It's up there between that and Backwards and Heels. They're
Oh,
both brilliant in their own very different ways. Backwards and Heels is very right for the era. It's
authentic.
24. Yeah. The Ingenious Gentleman is something completely different and is brilliant for that.
It's a nice fusion of Don Quixote's world and Doctor Who. It's so beautiful. Simon Callow was just made for that part. And I think, with Sancho and Ace, Don Quixote's little valley, and you've got Ace sort of being the Doctor's little valley.
Yeah.
It
And again,
works.
it's the fact that it's early on in their timescale works so well in that she is questioning what she is to the Doctor.
Yeah.
She's not yet secure in that relationship with him, which is, it's wonderful to see that fleshed out and explored. So,
Intelligent
Wicked,
storytelling?
it's another intelligence for storytelling.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah. See, overall, actually, looking at that, the Seventh
McCoy.
Doctor is doing really well. That is 4 back-to-back there in the second to top tier. But then he's also got the only one that's currently occupying the very bottom tier.
Yeah.
I'm surprised the Sixth Doctor one didn't end up down there, actually. But at the same time, looking at what we've got at the moment, I wouldn't change it.
Yeah.
I think, I'm happy with how all these are falling at the moment. We're on to the Eighth Doctor now.
Final stretch.
Yeah, we're nearly there, guys. Hang in there with us.
All right.
That's how long this video is at the moment, but
let's go.
Yeah. What lies inside? Dream tier?
Oh, absolutely. Paradox of the Daleks. Such a clever two-parter.
Yeah, it's brilliant stuff. It's again one of those sets that, because the main meat of it, the 2-hour long story is so strong, whatever came alongside it wouldn't have hurt its position. Yeah. The Dolby Spook is a pretty good little entree to have, I suppose. It's a nice little bonus there, but Paradox of the Daleks is what you're really there for, and it delivers. Connections.
I think decent song.
Yeah, I'd say so. 2 pretty good stories, 1 middling.
Yeah.
There, I think. Yeah, the last story definitely pulls on the heartstrings, though, actually. I'd say that, the Weeping Angel one. Again, Audacity. It's another case of the 2-hour story is so brilliant that it can't go anywhere else. I think it's another dream tier.
Oh, absolutely. Great Cyber War. It's so wonderful, isn't it?
Yeah.
I really like The Devouring. I think that's a good story.
Yeah, I think upon re-listen, that one definitely improved for me, but still, it's the Great Cyber War that you're really there for. And
that's what you're checking out.
That delivers. Yeah, it's epic, it's brilliant. It's got that slow new series style build up to the Cybermen, but then when they arrive in force and it works, and it's wonderful hearing the revenge Cybermen again and making sense of that.
Yeah.
But then in the Bleak Midwinter follows on from this set. You've got Charlie now in the mix with the Eighth Doctor on Audacity, and it's sort of a bit of a slower pace set.
Yeah.
I mean, particularly the first story, 24 Days in December, 24 Doors in December, sorry.
Hmm.
Uh, I think it's probably my
Decent.
least favorite of the set,
No,
but
I'd say the Winter Demon.
yeah, oh yeah, actually, yeah, yeah. But it's wonderfully heartwarming at the same time, though.
It's
There is
character
like
work. I think this is where this Audacity stuff shines. It's just you don't mind what's happening because you just really like this TARDIS team.
it's an interesting way of structuring a story as well. Yeah, and
And
then the Empty Man, is it the middle one?
yes, yeah,
Yeah, that's a pretty strong ghost story.
yeah, the MR James sort of feel to it.
Yeah, I think decent song overall.
Yeah, I mean, it does have sort of like a overarching thing, which is quite nice when it all comes together, or like the
Hmm,
winter solstice, which is cool.
yeah. Echoes now. I think it's one of the weakest of the Eighth Doctor's run.
It's a kind of there box set, like it's just
Yeah.
there to fill a slot, I feel. Like it's got
Hmm.
some good stuff, but it's not really breakout stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Bird Song is the first story in this set,
Hmm.
and you listen to that thinking, "Oh, that was all right. I can't wait to see where it goes from here." And then it just never goes anywhere near those highs again. And you were sort of like, I didn't want that to be the best the set had to offer.
I mean, I
I
quite
wanted
like
that to just
Slow
be a good start.
Beasts.
Yeah.
That's okay. But the middle story just feels like
Hmm.
a lesser version of the middle story in, oh, what's the Audacity one? I'm trying to think. The Christmas one.
Oh, The Empty Man.
Yeah, The
Yeah,
Empty Man.
it's not quite got the horror to it. It goes more in the sci-fi route, and even then, it's not very interesting or coherent sci-fi. So, yeah, far from best.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, Deadly Strangers. I think of the 3 hour-long story sets for the Eighth Doctor, this is the strongest.
Yeah.
Hmm. But I still think that the two-part ones on the whole are the better ways to go.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. With one exception that we'll get to, but
Yeah.
yeah, Deadly Strangers.
Puccini and the Doctor's beautiful.
Oh, again, it's that slow-paced style of storytelling, isn't it? That's more about just the characters interacting, the joy of that. Yeah, I think it's a decent song overall.
Yeah.
I think the middle story really lets it down. The last story doesn't
For
do
gloaming,
much
yeah.
for me, but that first story is something special. Yeah, get up there.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
Yeah,
It's
right at the top, I think.
perfect. It's
Yeah.
perfect.
A brilliant opening uh episode to this
Cosmic
one
horror.
in Lost Amongst the Stars. We've been saying before about how, your 2 hour one is the main meat and you don't care what you get alongside that. But this story said, you know what? I'm going to go above and beyond and be absolutely brilliant in my own right. And I think it does rival The Time You Never Had or
Mhm.
the top spot in this box set. They're both so strong. Both the 1 hour story and the 2 hour story. They work together so well. And yeah, that 2 hour story, The Time You Never Had, is so epic, but also so personal.
Yeah, it's got such a grand stake to it, but the story's not afraid to pause that drama and check in with our characters and do something
Mm,
so right for the Audacity. And I think it's such a great conclusion to this sort of first chapter of this saga, really.
yeah, yeah, I agree. Yeah. And then finally, we come to Empty Vessels, which I mean, has a tier named after it.
Yeah.
Uh, do we want to be that harsh to it? Because it certainly did leave me feeling pretty empty afterwards.
It's definitely the low point of the Eighth Doctor stuff because even the two-parter,
Yeah, the
it's
two-parter didn't hit.
and you think it should because it's Zygon's. Roy Gill is a fantastic writer, but somehow it, it's not there.
No.
And
Yeah, I don't
Essos
know what happened with this
falling,
set.
it's it's fine, but I feel like
Mm,
I've heard it before in previous Eighth Doctor stuff. What you'd see in like Doom Coalition, it feels very much of that ilk,
yeah. And at Lord of Zygons, it has a lot of good ideas, but none
especially
of them
about
are exciting
identity.
enough in
Yeah,
the execution.
yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it?
Hmm. Yeah. There we have it. we have tier listed all 58 box sets from the relaunch so far.
Hmm.
So that is every box set that's available as part of those bundles they announce halfway through the year for the following year. Yeah, it's rather wild thinking we've had this much already, but then again, it has been 4 years. That is a fair while. It's just time's moving so fast for us now.
And I'd say pretty solid overall. Just looking at the tier list,
Yeah, like it's definitely heavier towards the top than it is the bottom, at least.
which is
So
what you want.
that's a good sign. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
definitely we're not wasting all our money, at least.
And I stand by the dream tier list. I think those
Yeah,
are definitely where the relaunch has really excelled itself really in those
yeah,
releases.
definitely. I mean, yeah, looking at the spread of doctors within there, I think yeah, that feels right for us really. For what
It
we talk about the
matches.
most, Fifth Doctor and Eighth Doctor, it makes sense that they're dominating.
Yeah. And a
I think the
sprinkling
third,
of fourth, yeah.
yeah, the third Doctor definitely started off strong, but has faltered a bit more in recent years with the relaunch.
Hmm.
So I think it makes sense that Annihilator's made it up there, but then as you go down the tier list, you see more and more recent Third Doctor stuff. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, it's interesting just to examine that, really, see our opinions in physical form in a way. Our opinions manifest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the link to this tier list will be down in the description below, so you are more than welcome to go and fill it out for yourself. See how it compares to ours. If there was something you thought absolutely not, why are they putting that there?
Probably
Go put
Sixth
it where
Doctor
you think it
related.
belongs. Yeah. And then, yeah, or discuss down in the comments below where you think we
Mm.
went right, where we think we went wrong.
What's been your favourite release you've experienced of the relaunch? What's been your least favourite? And what's been the most mid box set?
Yeah, there you go. Share all those thoughts down below. And thank you all for watching this probably far too long video. If you made it to the end,
Thank you.
thank you. You're amazing. And we'll see you all next time if you're not fed up with us already.
Bye bye.
Bye, everyone.